morning, fellow New Americans and beloved guests. I have 3 stories for you. First, I want to tell you about a young man who lived on the other side of the world. He was working at a mill and lived there with his brother, who also worked at the mill. He knew what was expected of him: work at the mill, stay near his family, and see what life might have for him. But this young man was not one to sit and wait for life to come to him. He was an adventurer. He needed to go out and see what the world had to offer. So he applied for a job on another continent, left the safety and comfort of his home and his family, and set off to a new world, knowing nothing about the culture he was about to be surrounded by. In this new place, it didn't take long for him to go from the man in the bow tie, his trademark style at the time, to treasured employee and friend to many. Even so, he was still on the lookout for greater opportunities and more adventure. So when he heard there were unfilled jobs in yet another country on yet another continent, he boarded a plane with 1 suitcase and $200. He had no contacts in this new country, but somehow opportunity collided with his confidence and his grit, and he had work in this new place within days of landing. Next, I want to tell you a story about a beautiful young woman who lived on the other side of the world. She loved her family dearly and was especially close to her mother. Although culture dictated that she would have an arranged marriage and then care for her husband and children, she dreamed of becoming a lawyer or a judge like her dad. However, when she was 20 years old, a handsome friend of the family who lived in a faraway country came into town looking for a wife. He was captivated by this beautiful young woman and asked her parents for her hand in marriage. He was from a good family and would provide for her well, so her parents agreed. They married, and then he whisked her away to a country thousands of miles from her home with a different climate and unfamiliar customs. Somewhere where she would know no one except for her husband. Finally, I want to tell you a story about an 11-year-old girl who lived in Canada. One day, her parents sat her and her sister down and said, "We're moving to America." She had the same concerns any 11-year-old girl would have if she were leaving one home for another. Will I make friends? What will my room look like? What will my school be like? Why do we have to move? Her stomach ached with the stress of it all. Little did she know that America would become her true home. It would be the land where she graduated from college, the land where she worked her first job, the land where she learned to trust God, the land where she met and married the love of her life, the land where her newborn American children would breathe their first breaths, and the land where her naturalized American parents would breathe their last breaths. You may have guessed that the young man in the first story was my father, and the beautiful young woman in the second story was my mother. The 11-year-old girl was me. And as I think of these stories, the one point that keeps coming back to me is this: if it weren't for my father's sense of adventure, for his courage, for his desire to seek better opportunities, and if it weren't for my mother, who followed her husband away from her home country, who supported us and encouraged us to work hard and chase our dreams, I would not be here. Here in this land full of opportunities. Here where I have the freedom to speak my mind or remain silent. The freedom to agree or disagree with the majority. The freedom to worship as I choose or not worship at all. If it weren't for my parents, I wouldn't be here in this place where almost everyone is an immigrant or a descendant of immigrants, where we can come from vastly different cultures and customs, yet call ourselves one nation under God. So if you're like my father and are the courageous first member of your family to step away from the familiar, if you're like my mother who came along with and in support of somebody else, congratulations on starting this new chapter of your family's story, one that starts with you and continues through the generations. May God bless each one of you as you continue your journey. And may God bless these United States of America. Thank you.